What's up, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of UrStory. We're out here in Massachusetts right now with RI Motorsports and Details with the owners, John and Linell. We're super excited to share their story with you guys and get a deeper look into how they met, their day-to-day activities, and even more so, some of the other cool activities that they do. All right, so we're out here right now in Massachusetts at you guys' new shop, right? It's been a little over a year since you moved in here?
September.
September, yeah.
8-9 months we've been here, yeah.
Yeah, and you guys have done a lot with this place. I mean, I love your race decks. I love everything you've done. It's super cool. Love the colors you guys chose too. And even more so, love the Jack Daniels you guys brought out for this too, so thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
The signature drink of the day is the Jack Daniels Sinatra. I'm sure you guys can tell a little bit more about it and why you guys chose this for your drink.
John, why don't you go with that one?
So a few years ago, I started a store and just picked it up. I had heard it's reasonably better than a regular Jack Daniels, and I'm a whiskey guy, so we gave it a try.
I definitely agree.
And it was everything it promised it to be. So.
And you brought two bottles out too. I love it. I think it's incredible. Yeah, I think the presentation of this is super cool, but I love it. So thank you guys.
It has all the taste and the flavor without the burn.
Yeah.
It's just delicious.
Can you say that one more time?
It has all the taste and flavor without the burn.
Yeah. All right, cool. So let's jump in it. So, I've obviously known you virtually for a couple years now from the Instagrams and all those stories. I was obviously a big supporter of everything that we were doing on the Instagram Live, and we've always, been trying to get out to each other's shops for a couple years now. So it's an honor to be out here with you guys and do this with you. So thank you, especially being the first one. But let's jump into how basically you started detailing and how you decided to start this business and grow it into what you have today.
So it started back when I just was building. I had an ON Pontiac Grand Am GT, a little grocery getter.
Yeah.
But I started to get more and more into actually building it and modding it, and I sent it out to RI Motorsports out in Ohio. By the time it came back, I had a 303 wheel horsepower grocery getter. Used to take it to the track, but I like to keep it clean. So I started detailing with off-the-shelf products, all the stuff that you could just find, AutoZone, Walmart, whatever it is. And then I got more and more into it, and I was 16, so half a lifetime ago. And then about 4 years ago, I had a friend who was like, you should probably do this as a business. So I started as mobile out of the back of my Honda Civic. And then I had a client actually was like, you should get a Honda Element. And there was somebody else who knows about Honda Elements.
This guy right here.
And what ended up happening was I started doing mobile. And that's what I was doing for the last 2.5, 3 years prior to getting my first shop in Richmond, Rhode Island. And about last year, around May, I reached out to John, and we had been friends for a while. And I knew he had a detail shop many moons ago, but he had gone back to telecom engineering and doing all his electrical work. And I said, hey, you want to come back and you want to do detailing? And he said, yeah, sure, let's do it. And we've been crushing it ever since. So. John never saw the old shop because by the time I brought him on board, I'd already shut it down and then was moving and looking for a new shop. And we happened to be here, and our friends who own D&M CarQuest were here in this facility. It was these two bays, but then they got a standalone building on the same complex we are, so we scooped up this bay because this was perfect for us. It was a great location, and there's nothing more that I could say about them helping us transition from just trying to do mobile out of my little very tiny garage at home to a now 2,400 square foot facility.
That's awesome. You guys are great, at least from what I've known you guys are a great partnership too, because you both take on certain aspects of the business, developing, taking care of the website, right? All the online, and then obviously you both are detailing and grinding it out in here. And even on your sales side too. How did you guys decide when you first came on? Because it'd be tough to start a business and then bring somebody on, later down the line.
I needed to make sure I had someone who had the same. It's really tough to find someone who's got the same strive and motivation, and especially when it was my baby by myself, it's tough to find someone who wants to do it as much as their own and make it a part of their own. And ever since I brought John on board, he's actually made me a better business owner because he has all those, he's got 20 years of experience of running his own business. So all the little things that I didn't know, he's like, hey, we should do this, or we should do that. Do you ever think about this? We need to, when we moved shops, he's like, we need to change our address to the IRS. Things you would never think of being a new business owner for a startup. And it's everything that I didn't know, John knew. And
Good team effort.
Yeah. We literally are a yin and yang. Like whatever I'm not strong at, John is strong at. Whatever he's not, I'm strong at. And it just works flawlessly that way.
He's your work husband.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great way to put it, right?
That's what the lady calls him.
Hey, John, going from the telecom business and starting your own business and running it for, basically to date, right? Obviously you're going into this full time. Was there things that you learned when you first did your initial startup at your telecom business that you've now brought that experiences into this one?
Oh, there's so many. I mean, a business is a business. No matter what the base structure of it is, it's still a business, and it requires all those same things. Whether you're detailing cars or running wires to, make a network work, business is a business. So all those little things along the years, and I've had plenty of help from friends of mine over the years, other business partners that have made me a better business person. And you just pick things up along the way, and then you bring them with you as you go, and it works. We teach each other stuff every day.
Yeah, I think I've learned more in the last year with John being my partner than I could have learned in the previous 3 years beforehand. Yeah.
That speaks a lot.
It's a good team effort.
Yeah.
It's a good team effort. He crushes it with the sales. Like, I'm not good with the sales. I don't particularly like doing the cold call sales where, doesn't phase him at all. So he can just go out and he just does it. And I'm fine with the warm sales. If someone's introduced me, I can do it no problem. But the cold calls, I can't manage it well. However, thankfully, Linell crushes it, so we're good.
That's right. Yeah, I love the sales side. So, with the Greater Garage, one of the other businesses I own, it was kind of the same thing, the partnership side with John Stevenson and I, because he's got everything I don't have and kind of the same thing, that everything he doesn't have, I have. And it's always, owning a business by yourself and then having a partner there. It was, at first getting to know one another was a tough thing, but once you find your spot, it's like game over, right? You guys can just truly excel and just go after it,
Yep.
which you guys have obviously figured out.
It's also nicer when you have a second set of eyes
big time.
To be like, hey, maybe you've missed this or you didn't think of that. Like two minds, but they're very like-minded, and it works really well in tandem. So.
So why did you guys pick this location? You're at out Mobley prior. Why did you decide to get into a shop?
So my old shop that I had was in, like I said, Richmond, Rhode Island, but it was 50 miles from where I lived.
Jeez.
So it was almost an hour drive to get to, in the middle of nowhere. And what ended up happening was I was at the shop for several months and went through the whole process of getting your business license and your certification and making sure that you were good with the town. And the town was like, nope, your building's not zoned to do what you're doing. So I had to shut it down and find a closer location. With John living in Massachusetts and me living in Rhode Island, I wanted to find something that was more central for the two of us, and Franklin just happened to be the place. I mean, when I used to work for FedEx, I started in Franklin, 5 minutes down the road from here. So my mom's worked in this town for 20 years. So it's been a part of my life forever. So it's just a great area, and they're a really big community-based town.
That's great. Yeah, you guys are close to Gillette Stadium too, which is kind of cool, right? Having New England and the Patriots, if you're a fan. Unfortunately, I'm not. Let's go Packers. But it's cool having that be at least when we were driving up here, it was neat seeing that just right off the highway there. So I love this location. I think you guys did a great job with it, especially building out right here. Super clean. Why do you guys pick green and black, by the way, for your colors?
So green and black just happens to be the IGL coatings colors. And instead of doing our old logo, which was the yellow and black, which was Boston Bruins colors, we decided to rebrand and do a new logo. So we went with, all right, we're using IGL, they back us, so let's switch the colors. So gray, green, and black it went.
It looks damn good.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really? Came out all right.
I think it came out really well. And you guys met in a kind of cool way, because Amazon is obviously grown and everybody knows it now, and probably has Amazon Prime with the next day delivery, but you guys were the ones that were actually, my understanding, loading the packages and taking them off and doing, working within the warehouse, right?
Yeah, we worked together overnight at Amazon. I was in Milford, which is down the street from here, and I was working at FedEx, so I was helping to run their inbound freight side. But what ended up happening was John came on probably a week or two after I started, and John was the only person that could keep up with me. And if it came to the point where if John wasn't there, I was going home.
Wow. And how long ago was that?
2016?
Yeah, like 4 years ago.
Wow. So you guys felt, work relationship started then.
Yeah.
Right? And now tell us, I remember we were talking about last night where, your guys' truck versus all the other ones, how you guys were able to run through it and basically get things expedited a lot quicker.
We could, the speed at which I could unload a trailer versus people that had never done that before was astronomical. If you saw a black belt and you looked at my trailer, there was no black. It was just packages, all labels up, and John at the other end scanning every package before it went up the conveyor belt to be sorted on the other belts where they were then to be sorted into their containers to go in the delivery trucks. So there were nights where I'd shut down the other trailers because the person up top splitting couldn't take care of it. They just couldn't handle it. I was just too fast. I'd get yelled at to get out of the trucks because I was too fast.
John's like, yeah, I remember this.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Those some late nights.
Early mornings.
Early mornings.
Yeah.
Late night, early morning.
And John, at the time you were doing telecom, and this is a nighttime job for you?
Yeah, so I had a couple of bigger clients that had large plans with large amounts of money, and then just decided to just not do it. And as a business, you start to put things in motion when you see the writing on the wall, like, all right, I have to kind of ramp up for this because this is a bigger project than just me doing it. And you put things in motion, and then you get the phone call. Yeah, we're totally not going to do that. It's like, well, that's great. There go my financials and everything else. Super helpful. Awesome. Thanks. And you hang up the phone, and you're like, wow, I still have to support a family, so that's not great. And so I needed some extra cash, which is how I ended up at Amazon overnight. So it wasn't tons of extra money, but it kept me busy. Tired, but busy. And, you know, as the story goes, you never know where life's going to lead you. So sometimes you go down in those valleys and you're like, oh my God, this is so bad. And then in the end, it's built this. Yeah. Those things going wrong in my life have built this.
Was that a tough decision for you to have to go and work that nighttime job after having those clients?
Yeah.
Did it pull on your ego a good bit?
Yeah, because the company had been fairly successful for many years. And when you have $1 million worth of business vaporize in the course of, I don't know, a month, you go from being like, this is great, I'm going to pay cash for a house, and everything's going to be great. And it goes from that to, oh my God, I didn't put anything else in motion because this looked like it was so 100%. Since they said it was 100%, and then when it disappeared, it really messes up your life. And it's not easy to take the step back. Taking the step back is the hardest thing. Any business owner will tell you, no one wants to fail, but failure teaches you so much. And I mean, half the stuff him and I go through, I'm like, well, I learned that because I messed it up. And that's how I learned it the hard way. But that's just how it goes with business. If you're successful all the time, you're not as good as you could be if you had failed here and there. Maybe not in such a gravity rotating way where it just pushes you off the planet, but enough where you've learned something that can make you a better business owner, a more strategic person, learn not to make those same mistakes in the future. So it's helped us. I mean, there are times we wanted to do different things, and I'm like, if we do that and this other thing doesn't happen, we're in big trouble, and we'll just wait. We take a pause. I mean, with everything going on nowadays, a couple things we wanted to do, you just can't. You gotta wait.
Well, I give you, a ton of props for that because a lot of people would have just, basically folded up and not gone back into starting something new. So, I can only imagine what mental strains you went through and back and forth with the devil and the angel on your shoulders.
Beats you up.
Yeah, but obviously it's working out. And having a partner like this on your side too, with both of you guys and the energies you guys bring, it's I'm stoked for you guys and the futures you have.
I couldn't ask for a better partner. So.
Like John had his own detail business, 15 years ago. So, and he said he had a partner, but his partner just wasn't motivated.
My friend for many, many years, I love him to death. But he was going through his own things. Like when people go through personal stuff in their personal life and that side of their life, if they can't manage that with the business side, it messes up the whole thing. The fluid part of it is gone. And that's why I closed the first shop. He knows. I was getting divorced. My partner was getting divorced. We were both getting divorced at the same time. And he had to just move on and go back to doing what he was doing before, which was IT work. And I basically did the same thing. I shut the doors, not because I wanted to, but because I couldn't manage it well for my clients. And I didn't want to, as it was soiling my name, and I didn't like it. And I'm like, I'd rather close the doors and just shut that chapter for now and maybe come back to it later some other day. So that's what happened. And we opened that book back up.
We had talked about it many times, and just over the years, I was like, you know what, if we can ever afford to do it or ever get big enough, I want to bring you on board. And we did our first car, was that black BMW we did, and we went to go polish it out, and I don't think one word was spoken, and I did the driver's side, he did the passenger side, we met in the middle and the back, and it was the exact same results on both sides.
Did you just fist pound each other when you got back there?
It was, it was one of those, one of those, I had my headphones in, and John was like, all right, I'm gonna do this, and except for just trying to make sure we could get the extension cords in the right way because it was a mobile detail. We were like, all right, let's.
This is all mobile.
It was a mobile detail, yeah.
Nice.
And
Polished it in the street.
Yep. And it was the same exact thing. And that's when I knew. I was like, okay, great. Like I'd never detailed with him before, and I'd seen pictures of some of his work from before. Yeah. But you know, it's different when you can talk about something as much as you want, but until you physically see it, it's kind of like a coating, right? If you see a coating, I can talk about a coating all you want until you see it, and you go, oh, that's the difference. That's kind of what it was. You know, to have somebody that's got the same mentality, but he's got some of the old school tricks that he knows, and I know some of the newer stuff, and to be able to combine that, it just makes a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah. And I saw the old trusty back there, the Porter cable, right? So is that you had that, I'm sure, at the first business?
Yeah.
You had to blow the dust off it and pull it out?
All the time, yeah.
Did everything just come back to you when you first got into it? Or did it take
I absolutely
you a
love
little
doing
bit?
it.
Yeah.
I love doing it. As much as telecom financially is, I mean, that's what I was trained to do. I was an electrician first. Almost died from that. Got zapped really bad. And the company I was working for wanted to start the telecom division. So I was like, yep, that's for me. I don't want to die no more. Thanks. But as much as that provides a nice income, the reward isn't there. I love the reward. He loves the reward. We both do.
It's
our favorite thing about
detailing. It's literally an instant gratification.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
And you know, we go for that oh my God factor every time. Yeah. And in some way, shape, or form, that's what we're looking for. And we say it all the time. If money wasn't an object, we'd do this for free.
Yeah, 100%.
That's how much I love doing it. Yep, I'd do it for free.
Yep. You got that right. Yeah, it's there's nothing better than finishing that car. I mean, even if personally, I kind of suck at polishing. I'm not the best, and I've come to realize it. And I'm pretty damn good at it. So, but even when you're not, just putting that polisher on, and even if it's just a quick swipe of the paint, and you realize, oh my gosh, look what just happened. It's like it looks way better. There's not a better feeling to that. And then to provide that to a client and see that, it seems that clients don't understand what we do a lot of the time.
And it's our job, and we're really good about educating and telling, meeting expectations. Like, listen, we're going to do this, this, and this is what the product's going to do at the end, but don't expect this. But we underpromise, but always overdeliver.
That's great. That's awesome. So S2000. I showed some pictures of that. Obviously, see a ton of trophies up here for that car as well.
That car did all right.
Yeah. So that was your baby, to say the least.
Yeah, it was a baby. It was a passion build. My brother and I, my parents helped out. Bless my parents. We bought that car as a family, and no sooner did we get it home, my brother and I were tearing it apart. Brand new car, ripping it apart. My mother was like, "What are you guys doing?" And we're like, "Oh, we're just doing some stuff." And we had a pile of parts we had acquired before the car showed up. We had to order it, of course.
Was it a new car?
Brand new. Nice. Brand new. I remember the day we all went to pick it up, came off the truck. It was great. I have all those pictures. Great memories. Great family memories. Yeah, and then it's just one thing after another. I'd say one of my favorite stories about that car when we first got it is I wanted to take the yellow reflector. Like, I had this vision in my head. I can draw a little bit, but not that well, right? So I had a vision in my head, and I needed to take the yellow reflectors out. Well, the only way to do that is to bake the headlights in the oven, to take them apart, to separate it.
Oh, man. Mom thought you were cooking brownies.
And then put it back together. Well, this is what we had. We were like, "Dad, we got to take the yellow reflector." He's like, yeah, that's cool, whatever. And we're like, we need to put it in Mom's oven? He was like, "You're going to do what?" We're like, "Yeah, can you take Mom away for the weekend?" He was like, "Yeah, we're not going to be home when you guys do that." So he literally took my mother away for the weekend. And we put the headlights in the oven, and when they came back, the yellow reflectors were gone.
Wow.
We never told my mother that. When she sees this, she's going to be like, "You guys did what?"
Yeah. Did it leak?
Sorry, Mom, I love you. Nope, never once.
That's great. She
Never
did it
once.
right. Yeah, and then Honda Element, too.
I know. So I had a client that was like, "You should get a Honda Element."
I love Honda Elements.
Oh, it's a great utility vehicle.
Oh, big time.
So it's perfect. And the one we have is the 4-wheel drive model, because obviously New England weather, so to drive in the snow, but to be able to physically take the back seats out and the entire interior is waterproof or vinyl, and when it's done at the end of the season, we just hose it out and then we tuck it in the back of the shop, and that's where it sits. And it's been a great vehicle. I bought it off a woman who bought it brand new, and I'm the second owner of it, and it's been one of the best vehicles I've ever bought.
Yeah, I think that was the hardest car I've ever let go, because I had that well, actually, so I had a black Honda Element when I first got driving when I was, 16 and a half, whenever it was. I totaled that car like 3 weeks into driving. Yeah, bad. So I was looking at my blind spot, a truck in front of me slammed on his brakes, and I hit him going like 45. That car saved my life, though, wholeheartedly. The cops came, I had my buddy that was in the passenger seat, thank God he was wearing, it's kind of crazy, actually, they had a whole not conference, whatever they're called, in the auditorium earlier that day of seatbelt safety. My buddy got in the car, in my passenger seat, and he didn't have a seatbelt on, and because of that conference that we had earlier that day, I told me I had to put a seatbelt on. And the officer said, if you didn't do that, I mean, I tear up to this day to think about that because his life would have been, gone if it wasn't for that seatbelt. But anyway, so we, had the Honda Element, totaled it, and luckily enough, the insurance company gave us enough to buy a new one. So I got a blue one because I wanted, cool color. That was like my, kind of just little taste into the cool color world of cars, not just the normal black and whites. And I drove that car. I mean, it went from me to my brother Reed. He ran his DJing business out of it. I ran detailing business out of it. And then my sister had it. And then we just retired it last year to, a new family. But it went to 142,000 miles. No problems. And
I think we got 120 on it.
Yeah.
I bought it when it had 98.
Oh, it's great.
Can't go wrong.
It's
going to last forever.
It's going to last forever.
Yep. In my old shop, I was trying to do a coating in 24 hours, as I'm sure you've sent Mr. Jim to do before.
Wow.
And I picked up the client's vehicle. I had the mobile unit sitting there, but I had my son's twin bed in the back. And I slept in the shop overnight, took the mobile unit out, finished the coating in the morning.
Wow.
And client came and picked it up. And I crushed it, but I was exhausted.
Yeah. Trying
to sleep in a shop with all the other noises of all the other businesses going on around you, not so fun.
Yeah. But you're in an Element, so it's fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
Stadium seating.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that car is great. S2000 Elements. I mean, the cars. Getting into cars. I think that's where most guys start. Their passion is building out their own cars, no matter what it is. The Honda Element was kind of the same for me. What was the Pontiac? Was your first car?
My first car ever was a Chevy Cavalier, but the first car I started to build was the Pontiac Grand Am.
Nice.
So
the real question is, I don't know if your mom knows this or not. Fist fights or your bare knuckle battles. So what car were you driving to those? Yeah.
So that would be plausible deniability.
Yeah.
Plausible deniability.
When I would do the underground bare knuckle boxing fights in Providence when I was a teenager. Sorry, Mom. That's the car I would take, was the red Grand Am. And a lot of people knew me by just the way it sounded. It sounded like a V8, even though it was a V6. I had a full, our sister shop, Adam Auto Works, built a full exhaust out. And it was one of the best cars I'd ever had, but that was the car I was taking to the fights.
That's awesome. Yeah, so you were a pro amateur boxer, which I didn't know till we started talking. Yeah. 13-3-1?
12-3-1.
12-3-1. It's a pretty damn good record too. Yeah. So how did you get into boxing?
I liked to fight.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
Except I could fight and not get in trouble. So my coach Rocco, who was a great person, found me and was like, I'm going to train you the right way, and just trained us like animals. And it was one of the most fun experiences. But then once I started to really dive into the long-term effects, and you can see like Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson, I didn't want to have those same brain issues as I got older, because I always knew at some point I wanted to be a dad, but I wanted to be able to do things. I wanted to be able to still be a physical person without having that issues. And that's what made me stop. Because at that time I was also weightlifting and running cross country.
This is all during school? Yeah. Were you in school? Wow. Oh, so you were boxing young?
Yeah.
Wow. And you didn't make any money in Pro-Am, right? It was all for free, right? Or just get a name for yourself?
Yep, it was just to get out there and hit some people in the face.
That's awesome. Get your face looking like your red car. Yeah. So to go from boxing for free, and then basically you had to make money somehow, so you went into the bare knuckle underground.
Yep, I was doing that about once or twice a month, and I would disappear for a week and say I was at my friend's house, and my mom would see me, and maybe I'd have a little cut on my face, or black eyed kind of be diminishing by that time, and she'd be like, "You okay?" I'd be like, "Oh, I fell into a bookcase," or this happened, and then eventually I was like, I need to get a real job and stop doing this.
Yeah. So cool. I mean, from my understanding of it is, you want to make money. Not that it was round 3, but it's fight number 3.
Fight number 3
of that night. So you had to basically beat the crap out of 2 other guys before you.
Before I started to make money.
And then you got the crap beat on you.
And I would always, the same kid I went to school with, Scott, always beat the bloody hell out of me every time. And it always was me and him. Your first round was somebody in your weight class. Your second round was somebody in your weight class. And then your fight. And then your third fight, it was whoever you got lined up with. It was always Scott.
And he always beat the crap out of you.
And he always knocked me.
Is he a big dude?
He was a big dude. He was about 300 pounds. He was about 6'4", and I was 160, and I was like 5'10", and he just manhandled me. Yeah.
Wow. But you got $1,000.
I got $1,000.
Yeah,
every time.
that's a lot of money.
I go home with $1,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money to an 18-year-old. That's like $1 million.
Yeah, for what? An hour of fighting at most.
Yep.
Yep.
That's it.
Wow. Do you ever want to go back and, pull the good old handy trusted fist out and get out?
There's times that,
one night scale.
I train my son some things that I know, and I'm like, I could do this, but then I think of, I can't risk that. That's not my life anymore. That's who I was. That's not who I am. Yeah. So
now you're a gentle giant.
Yes, I'm a big gentle giant. But at the same time, don't make good cop be bad cop. That's all you want.
I'm bad cop, stay out of my room.
Yeah. So in this relationship, I'm good cop, John's bad cop. But that's not who I am. I'm not an angry. It was an angry point in my life, and that was like my release. And I'm not that person anymore. Yeah. So I just, I could go back to it if I wanted to, but I'd have to drop, some of the dad bod weight. But other than that, it's I think I'm too old to try to go back into it. My shoulder's not what it used to be, and John knows.
That's not true at all. Mike Tyson wants to come back. He's like 60 years
but
old.
he's an animal.
He's
an animal.
He is an animal.
He's an animal.
He's still like, holy crap.
Yeah.
I was so afraid. Even just watching him, I was like, He's a monster. Yeah.
My right shoulder, usually by Friday afternoon, is really killing me before we go into the weekend. And then we have, every other weekend, we're usually here in the shop, and we try and schedule our appointments then, because every other weekend I have my son. So we're usually here every other weekend, except for John, because he's crazy. He's almost here almost every day.
Yeah. Has it become addicting, owning the business and being back in it?
Yeah.
Kind of growing it, yeah.
Yeah, it was funny when we made the decision to do this, I warned my girlfriend, I'm like, you may not see me very much for like the next 2 years. She laughed and I'm like, I'm so serious. I'm like, this is what happens. We're trying to build something, and to get to a point, I'm like, it's gonna take at least 2 years. And she laughed, and every once in a while she'd be like, can you just come home? She's like, I haven't seen you in, seems like days. And I go home, half the time the kids are already in bed. I make it home for dinner. I used to be the cook in the house, and now she's stuck having to do that, dealing with the kids. And I give her all the props for putting up with it. It's a lot. It's a lot for the partner to put up with. And she absolutely kills it. I love her.
Yeah, having a partner that supports, especially in what we do, because there is those late nights. I mean, even before, we were able to build a team, even now, there's...
Well, when we wrapped the Element, we were doing an event. I was trying to get the Element wrapped. I killed John that week. I was trying to get the Element wrapped to have its new livery on the outside for a Needy event, which is New England Driving Enthusiast, and we were going to a track day, and I was going to take the mobile unit and load it up. And we got to the point where Friday night we were here till midnight. We'd finished the wrap,
about right.
And then Saturday we came in and we did the final, put the wheels back on, did all this, and it was 6 o'clock at night on Saturday. I'm like, cool, let's load all the mobile stuff. And my whole body had just hit a wall. But I got to
I was dead.
I got to unveil it that Sunday, and we were here. We were like 80 hours here that week, just doing
80 hours?
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, at least.
We would do our details during the day, and then from 5 to 10, we worked on the Element, wrapping it.
So you probably had a great feeling when you unveiled that.
Oh God, it was awesome. I got to show up.
It was nice that it was finally done.
Yeah.
Since it was here, taken apart for 3 months.
I remember seeing that online. You guys literally had that thing pulled apart.
It was
all
parked back here, and then pieces just everywhere. We had to repaint it because the panels were like old and gray, and we just repainted them black. And then the last minute, like, hey, let's paint the wheels and calipers. That was the late night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it came out looking great, right? And even if it didn't, it wouldn't matter to you guys. I'm sure that really bonded you too, putting those hours in.
You got to put the hours in. It's the only way it works. You got to put them in.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, when I had to make that decision too. When when I first got engaged, knowing that I was going to be bringing this woman into my life, and be like, oh shit, like I don't know if she's ready for this. Yeah, like Nat, you ready? And thankfully her dad owned, is a dentist and owned his own practice, and so she understood that sometimes you gotta have those weekends. So I was blessed for her to have that mindset too. But I mean, when I was doing the pharmaceutical sales and then doing the detailing at night and realizing I gotta spend 100 hours, a week on something, and now I gotta bring somebody else, I gotta give a lot of my time to as well. It was just a tough tug and pull, but or tug of war. But like you said, man, it's you give those 2 years, you grind it out, and those first 2 years is scary as hell.
Oh, Brittany puts up with it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
but as they put up, you got support.
Love her to death. She puts up with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and So what, from where you guys started, right, the obviously mobile to the shop now, what's kind of your next goals? What are you guys trying to reach after next?
I mean, we're trying to get into a bigger facility eventually, and we want to bring, like I said, our sister company in. He does all custom fabrication and he does like the actual motorsports end of it. And we want to get everybody under one roof. And it'll just be easier to manage it that way. And we're looking for a large facility, and there's hopefully opportunity in this town because we like this town. We've embedded ourselves in the community here, and we're just going to find something bigger and just keep growing.
So obviously, if it wasn't for the group that had us here, we wouldn't be sitting here right now, enjoying some Jack Daniels. Exactly. Right. On a Monday.
On Monday.
At whatever time it is, 9:30, 10 o'clock, who knows?
Well, this is kind of dark
At night,
outside,
right? I think, yeah. I think it's dinner time. You're able to change our business wholeheartedly, big time. How is it for you guys, especially having a team member, or having another half that has to run the business as well? How's you able to change your business from the moment you put it on to where it is today?
Well, when we actually were able to use it from the 1 month free trial, basically, it was almost instantaneous. We went from like almost kind of asking somebody, can make sure you do a review, and nudge, nudge, wink, wink, hint, hint, can we get a review, to it automatically sets it, and then in a couple of days, I'll get a notification on my phone, or he'll get it saying, you have a new review.
Yep.
And it's just that extra step, the extra time. And my Monday mornings were me sitting down, making sure, like, hey, how's your car? How's everything looking? It's good, right? And that was 3-4 hours of my morning. And now there's that automatic response that does it for us. So we still do that, but it's nice that if I don't have the time, or we come in on Monday, I'm like, hey, we gotta go right to it, that there's a backup plan for it.
Yeah. That's great. And I know you've been dealing a lot with Kyle. You guys, yeah.
How he puts up with us, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think the month of December is the month that Kyle almost was on our payroll.
Yeah, we give Kyle a lot of work. A lot of work.
And how has it been dealing with Kyle? Because I feel like you guys
fantastic.
get along pretty damn well, to say the least.
As a
right?
tech guy,
yeah,
right, for so many years, I can understand his side of it. I mean, obviously he does all the programming and that, and I don't do that, but to be able to explain to someone what I have in my head that I would like the software to do, and him be like, oh yeah, sure, hold on. Click, 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 and message, yeah, you're all set. Like, that never happens.
And it's instantaneous.
It's instantaneous.
Yeah.
Do you wish you would have had your Able in your old business that you think could have utilized
Every
it?
business
Right.
needs that type of
So
software.
I keep saying, don't just stop at the detailers, right?
Yeah, literally.
Everybody could utilize
Everybody.
We're trying to get a couple of people we know that are small business owners to jump on board, and they're not even in the detailing world.
Yeah.
And we're like, it just
Anybody
makes
can
everything,
use
it streamlines everything. It'll just make it so much easier.
I'm a little afraid. I think Nat's going to download it for herself and start using or to schedule me in.
There you go.
Be like, oh, Grant needs 3 notifications. Right? Here he is.
Yeah.
And there's no excuses after that. Yeah, dinner time. Oh man.
Gotta go.
Dinner time. Gotta go, guys. I'll be back.
Follow up review. You're awesome.
Go home and fire.
I love you. Yeah. Did you feed our dog? I mean, we love your Able, obviously, and the whole Avens family has been, obviously big supporters of the businesses, which is, it's cool to have somebody that actually.
You talk to somebody.
You talk to somebody.
Not a computer that's an automated response.
No.
Or you got to wait 3 to 5 business days for a response.
Assuming you get one.
Yeah.
That's great. So I got to ask about golf carts too, because the golf carts has obviously been something that you guys are going after right now. And for us, it was dumpsters, and you guys are golf carts, and it seems like there's little niches that you can go after. So kind of give us the lowdown on that, kind of how that relationship built with these golf cart companies.
It was funny. When we first moved here, you're trying to embed yourself in the community. Linell was going out and doing sales, and he wanted to go down. In the old shop, he had the preserve down in southern Rhode Island, and they treated him very well, and it was a good business relationship. But being this far away now, we needed to get that type of client up here, and there's a golf course less than a mile from here, mile maybe. And he's like, I'm going to the golf course, and off he went. And our goal for that was just to, acquire the membership as clients. And in the end, we acquired the membership, but also the club, which really wasn't even on our radar, honestly. And then they asked us to detail their golf carts, and they were floored. And we just went and did our job, right? We have a job to do. We went and did our job for a week. It snowed while we were doing them?
The first day it
The
snowed.
first day it snowed.
And we're detailing outside.
Oh, that's the
Freezing
worst.
cold. It's
Yeah,
25
products are
degrees
just
out.
not even working.
Yeah, it's snowing.
Oh,
But we told the client we were going to show up. We showed up. We did our job. A few days later, they were floored. And we decided we really wanted to try and get the golf course, the club, to maybe want to get their carts ceramic coated. So then I was like, we should just do one. I'm like, okay, let's just do one then. So we did. On the last day, we ceramic coated one, and it looked way better than every cart.
Cart number
You
48
can tell.
is still.
There's some symbolism behind that,
If we
right?
call down there, yeah, cart number 48, we happen to. That just happened to be the cart we chose, and then I reached out to Michael from UrAble, and I was like, "Hey, what's our subscriber number, by the way?" And he's like, "You guys are number 48." Damn. And
What are the chances?
It's just, it's a creepy coincidence.
Yeah.
But we'll call them, and we always check in with them once a week, just to be like, "Hey, how's everything going? Do you have anything going on?" And they're always asking for a flyer, and it's on our to-do list. And then by Friday, we're like, "Oh man, we forgot to do the flyer for the golf course." We have one down there, but they want a larger one.
They want a banner size.
They want like a banner size, and we just forget about to do it.
Yeah.
And we're always like, "How's cart 48?" And they're like, "Oh man, we want all our carts to look like that." Because they're parked under like a deck, basically.
Sure.
But so the elements get to them, except for that one. It's parked front and center, and it looks like day one.
Awesome.
So while we were doing that, a territory manager for one of the leasing companies for the golf carts approached us and was like, "Hey, I think you guys have a niche market for this. I don't think anybody's doing this in the area. Let's sit down and have a conversation, and we'll work that through." And we're just waiting for them to respond back from us. So we've been in constant contact with them, and we think it's going to go very well with them. And that will help scale our business exponentially from just this one thing that we fell into by accident, I guess. Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
they
was
came
kinda by accident.
Yeah, they came to us, and it was nothing I ever even thought about doing. Like, yeah, I'll detail anything, I don't care. But now golf carts to be all over the New England region is huge.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of losing a big contract like you did in telecom to now potentially gaining this massive contract.
It's funny. It does make me nervous and gun shy. He always gets so much more excited than I do because I've been beat up so many times. Gotten the, yep, we're good to go, and then nothing happens. So I tend to be more reserved. He tends to be more excited, which is good because he's the face out on the road making it happen. So, I mean, it works. It works well. It works well.
I think you're getting your break here. I think it's time.
I damn hope so.
Cool. So, one thing I would love for you guys to share, if you're able to, is, no pun intended, but if you're able to, is just a lesson or story that, you want basically the viewers to take in that you've learned maybe in the business through life or, something that you're currently learning right now. So you guys have anything you'd like to share?
Myself personally, from working for a business and being around, a couple hundred people a day, the negativity really gets to you, and you try to deflect it as best as possible, but sometimes you can't leave that stress at the door. And going from working for a business to being a business, I live my life law of attraction. So if you're positive and happy and outgoing, that's what you're going to bring in. And that's how I go. Even when we're having a bad day, I'm still like, you know what? This, and this is still good. You know what? Let's have a beer, and it'll make the day better. And that's just how I've lived my entire, not just as a business owner, my entire life. And it has changed my outlook on everything. So when something small and minuscule happens, you kind of go, it's not that bad. This could have happened instead. So I live in a positive light.
Beautiful.
Words of wisdom. I'd say the words of wisdom I would pass on to someone else is if you're going to run a business, it's okay to have those days where you fail. It happens, right? Like, take that in and grow. Failure forces you to grow. It teaches you things that you otherwise would never learn. But it makes you a better person. It helps you, it gives you the foresight to not let that happen again, to bring it around, to practice that in the future. So it's just a more seamless operation for what you're trying to build. And we're trying to build something awesome and amazing. UrAble's helping us do that, right? But it's always growth. It's always growth. You got to be able to take in the bad times with the good times and make something more awesome. It does take time, though. That's why I told the lady 2 years.
It's not
It's
something
probably
overnight.
not accurate.
I'm in year 4 of this, and we're starting to see the other side of it. We're starting to see the growth and the scale. And John told me, he's like, man, it's not going to be in a month. It's not going to be 2 months. He's like, in a year, and here we are a year later, doing something awesome in a shop 3-4 times the size of my last shop.
It's exciting, guys. I'm stoked for you both. I'm super proud of you both, you guys too, because I've seen everything you guys have achieved in the last couple of years. So I appreciate everything, and thank you guys so much for obviously joining today. Thanks to UrAble for allowing us to obviously do this and open up about your guys' stories for the UrStory. So anything you guys have, any other stories you guys want to watch, make sure you always tune in, like, subscribe, go on their website, follow UrAble, make sure you download the 30-day free trial. Thanks again for everybody, and appreciate you guys.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you.
Super appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.